Hello! Today we're going to talk about photosynthesis, specifically step 1, the light-dependent reactions. The light-dependent reactions occur in a chloroplast, and I drew a rectangle around one thylakoid. So this zoomed out thing right here is one thylakoid. Here is photosystem 2. It contains pigment molecules like chlorophyll that can absorb sunlight. Here's the electron transport chain. Electrons can actually move through these proteins, and we can use their energy to do things. Photosystem 1, just like photosystem 2, it contains more pigment molecules to be able to absorb more sunlight. And finally, ATP synthase, special spinning protein that can make ATP. And these Mickey Mouse heads are how I'm representing the water molecules. So, first things first is sunlight is going to hit the plant, and then the chlorophyll inside of photosystem 2 actually absorbs the sunlight. That sunlight is going to energize this electron. And once the electron's energized, it's going to move over here to the electron transport chain. Meanwhile, there's an enzyme in the thylakoid that's going to split apart water, so it's going to break those bonds. And that little shiny thing represents the electrons. Remember that water has two pairs of electrons that make it negative, that make it polar. The electron is going to go up here into photosystem 2. The oxygen will eventually be released into the atmosphere so we can breathe it in. And the hydrogen ions are just going to stay in the thylakoid. So just kind of move them over here out of the way. So again, one more time, sunlight is going to strike photosystem 2. The sunlight energizes this electron and it moves away. Water is split apart, and we use the electrons from water to replace the electron that left. The oxygen gets released into the atmosphere so that we can breathe it in, and the hydrogen ions just stay in the thylakoid. Okay, now let's follow our electrons. So here we have our high energy electrons. They are going to move through these electron transport chains, and as they're moving through here, we can use their energy to pump the hydrogen ions into the thylakoid. Notice that this is a low concentration and this is a high concentration. So this would be active transport. It's going to take energy to force that hydrogen ion to move against its concentration gradient. But luckily, we have these electrons. We can use their energy to do that. So again, when an electron moves through the electron transport chain, we use its energy to pump hydrogen ions into the thylakoid. And now we're getting quite a nice collection of hydrogen ions. Now the electrons have used up all their energy, so they're low energy again. So they are going to go to photosystem 1, the chlorophyll will absorb more sunlight, and they get re-energized. The electron will come over here, it absorbs sunlight, it gets re-energized. Now we have high energy electrons again, but there's no electron transport for them to go to, so we're going to put them in the electron carrier. This empty egg right here represents NADP+, so that's like my low energy form. And then I am going to put my electrons inside of it, and now this has become NADPH because it's carrying those electrons. I'm going to just let this over here in the stroma. We're going to use it for the second set of photosynthesis reactions later. One more thing that still needs to happen inside of our thylakoid, we need to be able to make some ATP. So since we created this hydrogen ion gradient, this is a high concentration of hydrogen ions, and they naturally want to flow out of the cell. So this hydrogen ion can flow through ATP synthase, and when that happens, this protein spins, like it literally spins like a carousel, and it combines a phosphate with ADP to make ATP. Yay! So again, passive transport, this hydrogen ion is going to flow through ATP synthase. It's going to combine a phosphate with ADP and make ATP. So let's look at what we have. We used the energy from the sunlight to create NADPH and ATP. This NADPH and ATP will be used to power the step number 2 in photosynthesis, the light-dependent reactions.